Hey guys, this is Michael El Guaribo Ferrer, and as promised, I am coming to you to explain what happened in the last couple of months where I decided I had to not compete for a bit, which was a mistake, and ultimately came to the conclusion I have to compete. So, for starters, let me introduce myself again. I'm Michael Guaribo Ferrer, owner of Guaribo Fitness LLC, a startup business that has slowly but surely started up. It came from a dream, ultimately. Guaribo Fitness is honestly that. It's warrior fitness. That's what Guaribo means. It's a Taino word that signifies warrior. And a couple months back, I had been getting ready to compete for a competition. I was working, I was studying, and trying to take care of myself. I am a type 1 diabetic, so it was something that had to be extremely important for me to put myself through a lot of the stuff that I was going through. In addition, I had a lot of things on my plate, from taking care of my family. I have 3 kids and a wife that depend on me to take care of them. Unfortunately, I ended up getting to a place where I became extremely depressed. For those of you who do not know, I have PTSD from a traumatic event that occurred to me when I was a child, as well as schizoaffective disorder. Schizoaffective disorder, the way I've described it and the way that others have described it to me, is pretty much you take schizophrenia and bipolar, put them together and create an atom bomb of emotions where one day I could be way up here, super happy, high energy, ready to tackle things, and then the next moment I'm depressed, can't do anything, lost the will to do anything. So a couple of months ago, I was working at Hibbett Sports out here. I had been promoted to assistant manager and was attempting to go up in the ranks. Our store manager had left, she had been transferred, and so I was trying to get the store management position at the store that I was at, or the other one, which is like half an hour away, if not more. Because I'm a team player, I turned down the position for the area that's like half an hour away from me, because I couldn't see myself leaving that store, with the store that I was working at, without a store manager. It would be going in disarray, and the store manager that was there she had a tight ship, flat out. Fast forward about 2 weeks after I made that decision, I wait and wait, putting a lot of pressure on myself while trying to do all these other things. School, which I've always had an issue with, trying to do school and work together, taking care of my family. In addition to that, feeling like I was the only one trying at work. We had maybe 2 or 3 employees that actually put in the work, while all the other ones were doing whatever they wanted to do. Even though it was a relaxing, pretty easy job. I mean, half the stuff there wasn't hard. People became extremely lazy once the store manager got transferred to Utah. So I put a lot more pressure on myself. And even though I was trying to get ready for the competition, trying to get my things in order at home with school and taking care of the family, the stress finally got to me. And I ended up going to the hospital with symptoms that resembled a heart attack. That was scary. Luckily, it wasn't a heart attack. It was severe anxiety mixed with my blood sugars dropping critically low. And by critically low, I mean my blood sugars were at 30 at one point while in the hospital. So it scared me. It was like, I gotta change. So one of the things, and this is an important message to a lot of you guys, is that there are times in your life where you're gonna have to make a decision. That decision may not be popular. It might feel like you're giving up. And it definitely felt like that to me. But after that situation, I had to make a decision. I had to decide whether I keep this job and keep the pressure and all that on me and pretty much trying to take full control of the store and pretty much do everything that nobody else was doing, or I was gonna have to leave. And ultimately I decided to leave. At the same time, because of the fact that I got super scared and was worried that my sugars were gonna really drop and things like that, I backed out of the competition. And just that, I passed my class, flying colors, families was getting taken care of and whatnot. But that was my dream. It's been my dream since 2008. And when I found out I had type 1 diabetes, and that kind of put me in a downward spiral, which once again, it did. The business idea of Guaribo Fitness, my own health, my family's health and well-being, I put it all in jeopardy because I became extremely depressed. To the point, not to where I wanted to hurt myself, but I just didn't want to do anything. I stopped working out, stopped eating right. I barely ate. Luckily, I didn't lose really any of the muscle that I had gained this entire prep season. But for about, I'd say, a month, I was extremely hard on myself. I felt like a quitter. I felt like I gave up. But that's the thing. I'm not saying this to get any pity or to have anybody, oh, that's so bad and whatnot. The thing, and it's a lesson I've been learning slowly but surely, is that no matter what happens in your life, you get knocked down, get back up. Get knocked down 7 times, get back up 8. Find something that will motivate you, will inspire you to get back up and do what you have to do. During that time that I was depressed, I almost decided, screw the gym, screw training people, screw training myself. I'm never gonna be able to compete because 2008, I almost competed, and what happened? I got diabetes, I let myself go, couldn't compete. I was that close. And then a spark. I found something. And in my case, it was a lot of things that inspired me. One of them, my wife. We're not perfect, we don't get along all the time, but the one thing I will say about her, she supports me, and she's constantly pushing me. You gotta work out, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. To the point where sometimes it felt naggy. But the important thing was I had her motivating me and pushing me toward success. My kids. My kids love when I get healthy. They love when I start lifting weights. They love, if you could see that title belt back there, they loved when I wrestled. And yes, I used to do professional wrestling out in Denver. I miss it, but can't risk the injuries. The one thing that I found apart from them was I had to look in here and pretty much tell myself, get your ass up, get your head out of your ass, and start lifting weights. That's it. Start lifting weights. So I did. And it felt freaking great. The way that it felt when I was younger, and by younger I mean 26, when I started lifting weights, I fell in love with it again. I fell in love with the idea of getting healthy, not having to take as much insulin as I've been told I'm supposed to take. Not weighing 150. And then, just out of sheer curiosity, I decided to look for competitions. Maybe I'll compete, maybe I won't. And I found one. Way closer to me than the other competition. I spoke to my wife. I still was in pretty good shape considering a month off. Just needed to lose a couple of pounds. I spoke to her, and that's another important thing. Let people know that you trust. Not everybody. Choose 1 or 2 people that you could absolutely trust. And tell them, I'm thinking about doing this. That's what I did. I expected her to be like, no, we've gone through this. We don't have to go through this again. Instead, she was like, go for it. Find a hotel room so that we could all stay there and go to your competition. Get the tickets for the competition. Register. Once again, my motivation. She's my muse. The advantage of being able to have that type of support group, and it doesn't matter what thing you choose to do, whatever your dream is, you have that support group, and guess what? Nothing will stop you. I believe it was Napoleon Hill who actually said that the one thing we need is a mastermind group. And granted, in his book, it says that it should be of individuals from different, that have been successful, but they're from different, business ventures. But I think your master group could be anyone that you could trust, such as my wife, such as my kids. When I decided I wanted to get a gym going, one of the people I asked was my eldest son. He's 16, doesn't like working out at all. But the kid's a genius when it comes to technology and what to do. So I asked him, write down things so that I have ideas of what I want to do in this gym. And granted, the gym right now is my garage. I have one client right now. And most people will be like, oh, you only have one client, it ain't gonna be that successful. I call bullshit. There's a reason why I call bullshit. Because, yes, I only have one client. But that's one more than I had a couple of months ago. And in this small town of Sterling, Colorado, that's pretty good. And I believe that I'm going to get more. So I regress. I sign up for this competition. And it's the OCB Colorado Natural. Am I nervous? 3 weeks in before the competition? Absolutely. But that thrills me. It reminds me of when I first got in a wrestling ring. Your nerves are shot, the adrenaline's pumping, and nothing could hurt you. It's exactly how I feel. I come into this gym. Yeah, it's my garage, but it's my gym. And I go through hell. But there's a thing about going through hell. We all want to make it to heaven. But the only way that happens is by going through hell. The one thing I will say to all of you, and this won't be the last video, I plan on making this a daily habit. But the one thing I want to tell you guys, if you're going through hell, it could be the same as I went through a couple months ago. It could be something different. As long as up here you choose and believe that your circumstances will change, guess what? They'll change. You'll go through hell to get to heaven. Don't ever let anything tell you otherwise. I'll be back tomorrow. Love you guys.